Welcome back to News Generation. Now, it has been 2 weeks since we heard about the 11-year-old girl who had her buttocks burnt with hot water as punishment for bedwetting. Happily, the girl is still receiving treatment and she's healing, but we want to look deeper into the issue. Wetting the bed is something that everyone has done at some point in their life. Maybe you were dreaming that you had gone to the toilet only to wake up on a wet bed. Who knows? It is part of growing up. So let us find out more about bedwetting.
16-year-old Louisa and her friends have views on reasons why we wet our beds. They are all fine with it, except Louisa remembers that the last time she peed on her bed, she was 9 years old.
I was urinated, so suddenly I urinated on the bed. I was urinated. So that was my best moment in my life. My daddy came in and was like, "What is wrong with you?" I was just looking at his face. Then you peed and he started beating me.
It is hard to avoid the stigma associated with older children's bedwetting. It seems like bedwetting could lead to abuse. But is this the best way to approach and solve the situation? Dr. Ebenezer Bedu tells us more.
Okay. So what causes it then?
Some people inherit the tendency to bedwetting. So if you have a father or a mother who wets, then it's likely your child may wet. It's a maturational thing. Just like some children will walk at 10 months. Some will also walk at 18 months. Then you have, at the extreme end, children who have learning difficulties.
Can you please take us through the process using you?
Yes. So basically, your two kidneys here, they produce urine for you regularly, and they fill up this bag here we call the bladder. So the bladder is what holds your urine. It can hold urine to a certain volume, so it continues to fill. And the brain is the one sending signals when it gets full to tell you that it is full. Over here, we have things that control the opening. So we call this a sphincter. There's a gap here. So there are muscles and things that either tighten or open it or relax it. So when you get full, then the brain will send a signal. This sends signals back to the brain to tell you are full. And then brain sends a signal back that please open this. But in a sense, you don't decode that message. And then brain overrides you and says, fine, I'll still open. Because my pressure is getting too much here. I don't want it going higher. So I open it and then you wee. Parents should actually have an avenue. They should know how this is managed. And once you understand the mechanism, I think there's quite a little knowledge about what is best. You know, things like lifting the child at night. Do you wake up your child and let him empty? We have needs, more or less a clinic or a place where they know a bit about bedwetting to help you with all these techniques.
We hope you have learned a little more about bedwetting today. One interesting fact is that technically you are not a bedwetter until you are more than 6 years old. This is when naturally children are supposed to be in complete control of their bladders. Now remember, in our first episode we brought you the story about the children of the Omanjo Basic School and their demands for a new roof. Well, they had been sent home for weeks because their classroom did not have a roof. They came back and had to battle with the weather. Their school was finally roofed over the Christmas and New Year holiday when they were at home. We promised to go back there to bring you their reactions about finding their school had been roofed at last. This is what they told us.
Whoever has done this, we are very glad, and we say thank you to the person, because at first we used to suffer a lot. Some have to complain of eye problems, some have to sleep when there's a teacher in the class, and some have to go home compulsory. They have to go home compulsorily. But now you can see we are under a conducive environment and we are studying well.
I'm happy that the roof is for us, and now if I'm sitting in, I feel comfortable to learn.
With our structure, what I can say is that we're happy, because through the help of SOS, we are now having something over our head.
And at the Universal Street Academy, children look forward to break time. This is when they get the chance to have fun with all of nature's glory by the beach in Jamestown. Don't you wish you could just have fun with those kids? Ever seen men wearing high heels? Apparently, years and years ago, that was the in thing, courtesy of the BBC. Here is something to ponder about.
For generations, high heels have signified femininity and glamour. But a pair of high heels was once an essential accessory for men. They are not good for hiking or driving. They get stuck in things. Women in heels are advised to stay off the grass and posh floors. And high heels don't tend to be very comfortable. It is almost as though they just weren't designed for walking in. Originally, they weren't. The high heel was worn for centuries throughout the Near East as a form of riding footwear. When the soldier stood up in his stirrups, the heel helped him to secure his stance so that he could shoot his bow and arrow more effectively. A wave of interest in all things Persian passed through Western Europe. Persian-style shoes were happily adopted by the higher social class, who sought to give the appearance masculine edge. As the wearing of heels moved into the lower ranks of society, the higher social class responded by seriously increasing the height of their shoes, and the high heels was born. In the muddy streets of 17th century Europe, these new shoes had no utility value whatsoever, but that was the point.
Imagine your dad wearing high heels. Think about it. Anyway, it's time for another break, but when we come back, we'll be talking a little bit more about the African Cup of Nations.